You know, they used to say all roads lead to Rome. But here at the Voice Party, we like to say if you need garage doors done, you need to go to All Roads Overhead Garage Doors, located right in good old Richmond, California. Proudly serving the Bay Area since 2002, and they speak Spanish. Hablas Español. Please call 510-375-8756. Mention the Voice Party and get the homeboy discount. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joaquin Xavier, and you are listening to The Voice Party. Guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Name is Jasper McCargo.
Woo! Smooth jazz.
Welcome, Jasper.
Smooth jazz.
Thank you for having me.
My favorite kind of jazz.
You're welcome.
Favorite kind of jazz, huh?
Yeah.
The fighting jazz.
You know these guys already, right? You met these guys before.
I met you at the Rich City Talent
And when
Showcase.
you also
I think.
Go to Work Fitness. And then you were at an event we were covering out in Oakland.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I met you a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
And we went to high school together.
Yes.
Yeah,
Way back.
Graduated together,
no
actually.
way.
Yes. Walked across the stage together.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you guys went. I don't know. You guys went way back.
Yeah.
Okay. So, man, I met you at the Rich City Talent Showcase. That was the first time I actually met you.
Yeah.
But I had already seen some of your clips because I love boxing.
Right.
Like, I mean, I never got into it. I trained for a little bit in my early 20s, and then I didn't follow up with the weight. But I've always.
It's an exciting sport.
It is.
So it's hard not to love it once you get a little taste of it.
For me, it was always hard to get on a treadmill or just go jogging, but to actually like hit the bag or spar.
Yeah.
Especially when light sparring, I want to be in shape.
Right.
Like, it makes me want to be in shape.
You have to be in shape.
Yeah, because something about getting hit, and like, oh man, like it makes me want to be in shape to,
Yeah.
It's got that the pressure of I don't know. It's different. Like, when you're not
motivation a different way. Motivation is a completely different way.
You're not getting hit jogging.
Right.
It's not pushing you to keep going. Yeah.
You just got to worry about being out of breath. You don't have somebody jumping out of nowhere to punch you in the face.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you mean by that because sometimes, there's been a few times where I took some time off from training.
Yeah.
And I got a little out of shape, and to motivate myself.
Yeah.
I have to go spar, and that's what would motivate me to start running and stuff like that. I just have to. That's normally what I just go straight back to sparring. If I take time off, first day, first workout, straight to sparring, and then that motivates me to get back in the running. Whereas not, it takes some time to get back motivated. That's what does it. Just for me.
Yeah,
personally.
no, for sure, and that's what I feel is probably like the best. Because when I started to get involved with it, I first sparred with someone who had experience at King's Gym. And he wasn't a pro or anything, but he just did it consistently.
Right.
And me, at that time I was playing soccer, so I felt in shape. But then I did it.
Boxing's a different type of shape. It's a
different monster. Yeah. It's a different kind of shape, and I see it as probably the best. I mean, any combat exercise is probably the best. It's got to be the best exercise. For to get in shape for anything. I mean, Well, how old were you when you started boxing?
I started boxing late at 18.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I started the Monday after I graduated high school.
Oh wow.
Yep. As soon as I graduated.
Yeah, because usually they start at 7 years old or so. Yeah. And that is late. And do you think that were you involved in sports before, or did you get in fights a lot, or how did that happen? Because
I always was a boxing fan. I always wanted to box. Ever since I was probably about 3 or 4 years old, I wanted to box.
Okay.
And all through my childhood, I used to ask my parents, can
I punch somebody, please?
I want to join the boxing
Can
gym.
I punch somebody, please?
But in my family are big boxing fans, so that's how I wanted to become a boxer at such a young age.
Right.
I actually, at that age, I shared a room with my uncles, and they were they boxed competitively at a recreational level.
Okay.
And their whole room was covered in boxing posters.
Oh wow.
So once I was able to comprehend, at like 3-4 years old, that was like the first thing I ever aspired to be was, what I saw on the walls in my uncle's room. So that's when I first, started loving boxing at a very young age. And it never left. I still love it.
On that note, who was one of the earliest boxing matches you remember watching? Because if you said you love, I grew up in a boxing family, like everyone.
Yeah, when I started watching it, it was some popular fighters coming up. Junior Jones, I remember he was always on HBO, and Roy Jones and Prince Nassim, and those were all the fights that was like going on the weekends. Those fighters around that era. Yeah. Like Terrence, Kelly, Kevin Kelly, what is his name? All those type around that era. Mayweather was first, that's when he first was coming up. De La Hoya, Sugar Shane Mosley, they was all coming up. Yeah. Burning Forest, all of them. I used to watch all the fights.
One of the earliest fights I remember watching was Chavez versus Camacho.
Yeah, I remember. Camacho. I used to watch that.
He was exciting.
Well, I used to watch him a lot, not that, but yeah,
and
my parents.
Prince Nassim, that guy was crazy. It was a lot of.
That was a nice era.
Oh yeah. So you were always a boxing fan.
Oh, I loved boxing. I used to just watch boxing nonstop when I was a kid.
What made you not get into it earlier?
Well, my parents, they were boxing fans, and they just never, they never was into me boxing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So like I tell my mom, and she'll make an excuse. Oh, we can't afford it right now. And then they'd give me a basketball. Why don't you play basketball and stuff like that? Yeah, because I was tall. Yeah. It was just that type of thing. And when I was with my dad, it was just kind of the same thing with him.
Yeah, they don't want to see you get hurt.
I think with my dad, because him being a single father, he tells me now, he's like, well, I was pretty much in charge of everything. I didn't want people to say, oh, you put our son in boxing and got him beat up, and what are you doing? So I think he was protective of me in that aspect. Right. And they kind of thought I'd just grow out of it. Yeah.
But, how wrong they were.
I never grew out of it. Then I started playing football, and I loved football when I played. Okay. But as soon as
you wanted to hit something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it definitely since we've become adults and everything outside of where we knew each other from, going back to JFK High, go Eagles. I never would have. If someone said to me, you're going to be a boxer, I would have said a football player, definitely. NBA, definitely. But you boxing has definitely shown me a side of you I had no idea. Because I wonder how many other of our fellow Eagle-ites were aware that, like, would everybody else know that you had like a dream to be a boxer someday?
I think that's the first time I stopped talking about boxing. Was around when I got to high school. Oh, okay. But before high school, even when I would go to school, it was all I talked about. I want to be like Muhammad Ali. Yeah. I'm going to go to the Olympics. I want to become a world champion. When I become a world champion, I'm going to date Jennifer Lopez. When I become a world champion, I'm going to do this. I'm going to drive that car. Like, everybody remember me from saying stuff like that. Then when I got to high school, it was like, I'm not going to box. Parents, and then I started playing football. And I love football, so that was my thing. But once I became an adult, I just I went straight to the boxing gym, and I just fell in love with it all over again, and been at it ever since.
You just mentioned something that you actually did, right? The Olympics.
Well, I didn't make the Olympic team, but I was going for the 2016 Olympics. I made the USA team in 2014. Oh wow! So I was able to travel and and box against international competition and. And that type of thing. The actual Olympic year, I actually had a pretty bad hand injury right before one of the qualifiers for the Olympic trials. Wow. Okay. And that kind of stopped my Olympic, aspirations. Right, yeah. And then when my hand healed, I just turned pro, right away in the summer of 2016.
2016. And you had I know we talked about this because I didn't know this about you, but you started off with no trainer.
Yeah.
That's because there's always a story like Mike Tyson had Customato, or one of my favorite boxers, Mikey Garcia, has his brother. Someone that kind of that plants the seed and keeps feeding. You didn't have that. You liked it so much, you just decided to get into it and train yourself. And that's rare in any kind of fight sport.
Well, the way that happened, I started out boxing. I had a coach. His name was Robert Rodriguez. Okay. And me and him was very, very close. Like to this day, I love Robert Rodriguez a lot. Yeah. Think about him pretty often and stuff. I hit him up every now and then and stuff like that. And so he started me off with like just the basic, of how to throw a punch, that type of thing. And then we competed together at a novice level in the amateurs. And then things started happening in his personal life, like with his wife. She had cancer, this type of thing. And he just had a lot of other obligations. Yeah. So we the training kind of started to slowly like die down. Mm-hmm. And but I was like so loyal to him and I loved him so much, I didn't want to train with no one else.
Yeah.
Then, it got to the point where I would be wanting to go to tournaments and then he couldn't go with me. And he couldn't really make it to the gym and that type of thing. So I would just go to the tournaments by myself.
Wow.
Yeah, I would just go by myself. And
you corner by yourself.
Well, you can't do that.
Oh, but
initially, he would like call a coach he knew, like, hey, can you meet Jazz over here? Okay. He wants to fight in this tournament.
That's loyal.
He always, so that kind of went on for a while. Towards the end, it was like, I would just show up by myself, find someone to work my corner, that type of thing. Then
get a FaceTime of him right there.
That went on for some years.
Wow.
And then it was a local promoter, boxing promoter, club level, contacted me about turning professional. So, I told him my situation, and I said, I need a better situation before I turn professional. Yeah. Like I need solid coaching and a solid team, and also I want to keep trying to make the Olympics anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next year, he recommended, a few coaches, and I started kind of, going around training with different coaches, and then I gave Robert Rodriguez the news that, I think I'm go elsewhere as far as my coaching, and that kind of kind of hurt both of our feelings a little bit, but it was necessary.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we had kind of reached the end of our road as far as like coaching, trainee.
Yeah.
So I didn't really find a good niche with anybody.
Right.
But tournaments were still happening.
Yeah.
Like the USA Nationals, so I wasn't going to miss out. So I showed up to the 2014, Nationals. I was pretty much just training on my own, like full time at that point. I go to the track.
What did you do? Did you look YouTube videos to see what
not that. I would go to the track all the time. I run real hard, shadow box real hard.
Yeah.
And then I call up different people, I knew for sparring. It was a fighter professional named Paul Mendez, who was fighting competitively at the time, kind of a journeyman, super middleweight contender. And he would always just meet me anywhere and spar with me and help me get ready. So I would spar with him all the time, and then I'd show up, and then I showed up at the 2014 Nationals and just kind of showed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just found somebody to work my corner, and then I made it to the finals.
Dang.
Yeah, and I overcame a lot of adversity in that tournament too, and a lot of people recognized it.
Right.
Because the first night in that tournament, I got headbutted pretty bad, like 4 or 5 times, and the referee ended up disqualifying my opponent. And this is the first night, but it loosened my front tooth.
Oh,
the headbutt.
Dude, those are deadly, man.
Yeah. So I fought the whole rest of that tournament with a loosened front tooth. I couldn't eat or nothing. I still made it to the finals.
Did they have to remove it?
No, it tightened up back on its own.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it tightened up on its own. It actually took about 6 months for it to tighten back up on its own.
You were on a liquid diet for a minute.
I got some dental work done to it. And but I was able to keep my tooth and everything like that.
How long was it? Were you like when it got loose? Did you fight right after that? Or?
Yeah, the next night.
Oh shit!
Yeah, just sitting over there, just dodge.
Really, like that'll make
not in the face, not in the face.
Yeah.
That'll make you sharpen up on your defense, like real.
Yeah. So I gained the respect of a lot of people at that tournament because a lot of people knew I came there with no coach.
Wow.
A lot of people, the word got around about my tooth.
Yeah.
And, I gained a lot of respect, and then also gained the support of my family at that point because they saw me, because my family didn't support me boxing when I first started boxing, far as like coming to the gym, encouraging me, that type of thing.
They didn't want you to get hurt.
My dad, he would always be at my fights,
Yeah.
But besides that, I didn't really have much family support. But once I made the USA team, which was 9 years after I started boxing, then it felt like, okay, now my family's proud of me.
Yeah,
they're behind me.
But for a minute, you were Kobeing it basically. It's like, what? Yo, nobody. All right, fine.
Yeah, so
it's cool.
Yep.
Man,
and then it's just been growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, where you are now, do you have a trainer that you are consistent with?
I train with a coach, and his name is Nick Balafato.
Okay.
Out of Redwood City. I train there, several times a week.
Okay.
And then I have my own gym. I have a personal training studio.
Oh, you do?
And I have a boxing area set up there where I do.
Where at?
Here in Richmond.
In Richmond?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Pound for Pound Athletics.
Pound for Pound Athletics.
Is the name of my personal training studio.
It's a lot of there's a lot of boxers that come out of Richmond, man. That's a lot of.
Oh yeah.
I mean, have you met the? There's two brothers that have a gym in Concord now, but they're from Richmond.
Okay, what's their names?
Johnny. I forgot his last name. Johnny Perez. The Perez brothers. They're lighter weight. But
I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, I've seen like there's like 3 boxing gyms and they're the 2 on Run Mill and it's just a lot of fighters come out of this area. Yeah. How long have you had your own gym for?
I started that the studio in about a year and a half. Yeah, about 2 years ago. Then I got a boxing section of it. I call that Both Ends Boxing Club.
Oh, okay.
It's like a small section that soon I'm gonna be expanding.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's when I expand it, then it's gonna be like a full boxing gym that where I can have customers come in and train also.
Are you going more like you want to be a trainer eventually? Is that where you're heading towards?
I've always done personal training.
You've always
ever since I was 18, like boxing.
Okay.
I started out at 25 Fitness at 18 years old. That was like one of my first jobs.
Okay.
Okay.
But do you see yourself like assembling a team with this gym? Where
I see down the road.
Yeah.
Once I'm done, with my own boxing career. Mm-hmm. I don't want to like spread my my wings too far. I want to master what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I do train like some of the kids.
Okay.
That's in the area that like their parents know of me and they want me to train their kid, this, that, and the other. Like I spend a couple hours 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Training some of the youth, and I kind of see it as my way of kind of giving back.
Yeah.
To the community and also just getting my feet wet.
Okay.
To becoming a great trainer that I think I'm gonna be eventually one day when I'm retired from boxing. Like I see myself being a really good trainer because I got a good eye. I've been around the sport since a baby basically, and I've done it on my own, and I got a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and like you said, like the day that your tooth got loosened. I mean, I'm sure that experience and then having to fight the next day, you picked up like way more fight experience from that. Especially fighting with pain.
Yeah.
Than you would have. Training and just hitting the bag.
Well, I felt like that just kind of built, my
grit.
It built grit. Yeah. Confidence in myself in terms of knowing that I got heart.
Yeah.
Because I've been in situations where I had to prove my heart.
Right. Yeah.
But as far as experience, I think, competing against good fighters.
Yeah.
Is what gave me experience. Being on the USA team that year gave me a lot of experience. Because when I was traveling with the USA team, I was around the USA boxing coaches, and they could tell I was pretty green.
Yeah.
So they start helping me out a lot. Every time I would travel on a trip, all the coaches would be, showing me.
And those are high level trainers too.
Yeah,
right?
Showing me some of the things I missed,
Mm-hmm.
Coming up on my own, pretty much. And there was a particular coach named Michael Murphy. Mm-hmm. And he was pretty much just amazed that I would show up. He would always be at the tournaments with his fighters. He's from Long Island, New York.
Oh, okay.
And he was just always amazed that I would come by myself, and he was always amazed that I would win.
Yeah.
And he convinced me to move to New York to train with him to get ready for the 2016 Olympics.
Yeah.
So I lived out there for about 7 or 8 months until I had that injury.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Because I was, training with him to get ready for the Olympics, and that is when I really learned. I learned so much, training with Michael Murphy, all the fundamentals that I missed, he put together for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I became a much better fighter. So, all of those experiences is what gave me, the experience, that I would pass down to someone else.
And then you also mentioned the day that you spar with like Yeah, King Gym. I believe you said you sparred with Andre Ward.
Yeah. I really don't think those experiences really made me a better boxer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they threw me in there with them before I even had one amateur fight.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, see, they just threw you in. They threw you in the
so I sparred with
water,
them probably like before I had one amateur fight up to maybe about 3 or 4 amateur fights.
Okay.
So that didn't really exactly make me better, but it did make me tough, and it showed that I had heart.
Yeah,
because they would beat me down in there, but I would still come back the next day.
So they wouldn't take it easy on you, like Andre.
Maybe they would. I don't know, but to me, I remember being in there, bleeding, eyes swollen, ribs bruised, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So and I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
So
I was there when he fought Chad Dawson, 4th row.
Yeah.
And I remember because when you said that, I remember seeing him. I saw him give a good body shot to Chad Dawson. And I remember, like, just the way the sound of the punch. Yeah. Like, it sounded, man, from that close, it sounded horrible, And when you told me that he was beating you, he was just giving it to you. I was like, I can imagine that vision, and then getting hit by that guy.
And the thing about it, I don't think at that time they realized that I was so inexperienced. Oh, shit. Yeah,
because they see you a big dude. They're like,
they're like, we got to
realize I was so inexperienced.
He's gonna give us a great fight.
Do you feel that being, because you're tall, you're a big guy, that's what makes him like, just throw him in there and
back then,
yeah.
Yeah.
They want to test the tall guy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I'm thankful for those experiences, because I feel like those experiences, made me tough.
Yeah.
Even now I can look back on those experiences and think, okay, so that's what he was doing. He was doing this.
Yeah.
And it makes me a better fighter in that aspect. And I'm very thankful for those experiences. Sparring with Andre Ward, Brandon Gonzalez, Joaquin Gallardo. All before I had like just a few amateur fights.
What year was this? Was it like 2014?
This was like 2005, 2006.
2005.
When Andre first turned pro.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
So now, where you're at now, like you've been a professional since 2016?
16, yeah.
How many fights have you had since then? Like, you've been fighting every 2 fights a year? Or?
Yeah, it's been rough.
Yeah.
It's been rough. I'm coming up the hard way.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much on my own right now, just like I was, in the beginning of my amateur, pretty much most of my amateur career. But it paid off in the end, and it's going to pay off in the end as a professional too.
Oh yeah.
I think just because of the lack of representation, like me being a jack of all trades, playing manager, promoting myself, that type of thing, it's been a little hard to get rolling. But as of lately, I feel like a lot of opportunities has been coming my way, and my shot's coming soon.
Oh yeah.
And when it comes, I'm going to be ready, and I'm going to capitalize.
What's the challenge in getting decent representation, like an agent, a coach, someone to vouch for you? I mean, is it lack of supply, or there just not enough people in the area who do that sort of work, or is it exposure? What is it? Is it
boxing politics?
Yeah, I think it's just boxing, politics, and and there's that's pretty much what it is. There's so many fighters, and that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
Just boxing politics.
That's what gets
it's a lot of times it's who you know, it's not what you know.
Yeah.
So
you could,
but I've been proving myself when I do have an opportunity to prove myself, and and I can feel that my opportunity is coming real soon, and when it does, I'm ready. That's pretty much how it is for everyone coming up the way I come up, way I am coming up. Your opportunity comes, you gotta be ready, because it's going to come. It comes to everybody in the sport of boxing. It comes eventually. So Andy
Ruiz, perfect example. He was basically by himself, and he got a shot at champion.
Right.
When you see stuff,
you're no stranger for going after a championship bout either. I think was it the last match I saw you? Just not a while ago. Wasn't it for the belt?
No, that wasn't. It wasn't for a championship or anything like that. The opponent I fought raised a lot of eyebrows, just because he had close to 30 fights,
That's what it was.
Yeah, and he fought some of his opposition fought for world titles and that type of thing, and he held a few regional titles himself. So, and me only having 6 fights total, that raised a lot of eyebrows. So
that was
but it was not for a championship. Yeah, that was my last bout.
That's
about
the one
3
where
to 4 weeks ago.
A draw, right?
Yeah, it was ruled a draw.
3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Your face is clean.
Oh yeah, actually, I mean, not to brag or anything, but he landed probably like 2-3 solid shots the whole fight.
Damn.
Yeah, and I had him bleeding. The referee had to call the doctor in. I won every round convincingly. There was one sort of close round. The 5th round might have been close, but every other round I won convincingly. One judge had me winning 5 rounds to 1. And this was in his backyard. And I don't know how the other 2 judges, ruled it a draw. But, it was a split draw. Majority draw, what they called it. And I'm hoping for a rematch.
They just liked him a lot. That's all that was.
That's what I was going to ask you, man. Like, that's, I love watching, I just watched Mikey Garcia versus, I'd watch it as much as I can, because I grew up on it. And that's one of the things that I don't like about boxing is the boxing politics that happens, man. Like, there's some fights where you clearly see the winner and just because, he's not the cash cow, like who they want.
Yeah.
You experienced a lot of that. Like
I feel like that definitely
was the case there.
The case there, and the case
before that too.
And when I fought a local contender, Marco Delgado, which is my first loss on my record, but it definitely was not a loss if he was there in the building.
I saw the video.
Yeah. So
we were in the building.
Yeah,
you guys. Yeah, I saw the video of it though.
Man.
Yeah, that was a complete robbery, but he was the house fighter, and and I was the B side, and I feel like that's what led to the decision, because it was just obvious that. It was
for the folks at home.
It was a good fight. It was it was a few rounds was very competitive. I remember, I believe it was the 4th round where he won that round big. But I clearly won the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And then after he won the 4th round pretty big, I came back and had my best round of the fight in the 5th.
Yeah.
And then the 6th round maybe could have went either way.
Yeah.
So, what did he do to win? When at best he won 2 rounds out of a 6-round fight at best. So, and it was like the first 3 rounds I won convincingly. It was not close. He didn't even really land anything solid into the 4th round. And he couldn't capitalize. My defense, was solid after he landed that good shot in the 4th round. And then the momentum shifted towards the end of the 4th round. I came back at my best round of the fight the next round, as y'all saw. So that was very controversial. That was very disappointing, to have that as your first loss, to be robbed like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was stolen from you. For the folks listening at home, I can vouch for everything this man is saying.
There's video, right?
Jasper did everything but knock that man out. Now that you mention it, hashtag 2020, knock all of them out.
But this fight, the last fight I just had, it was even more convincing than that Delgado fight, because Delgado had moments in the fight, where he had some success. This last fight, it was not one moment in the fight where he had any success.
That's
why it was a draw.
Bias, man. This is bias.
It's
so biased.
You should have seen him when they ruled it a draw. He's jumping up and down, his hands in the air because he was happy that he escaped with the draw.
He couldn't believe
that
it.
Says a lot. That says a lot when the fighter.
But I know my opportunity's coming, and I'm hoping to get that rematch. I know in a rematch. That fight definitely won't go to distance, because one, I was sick with the flu all week anyway, during that fight. And, not to make excuses, but I definitely felt like, there was times where I could have turned it up and stopped him. But, my breathing was affected from being sick, and I didn't have the same pop on the explosiveness, in my shots. So that had a play on the fight as well, as far as me stopping him and ending the fight.
You weren't at 100%.
Yeah, I wasn't at 100%. And what happened, in that fight, with the robbery, it didn't do anything but just make me more hungry. So now I'm going to be even hungrier than I was before, in the rematch. So there most likely, hopefully, be a rematch in June. I think that promoter, he puts on shows pretty regularly, and I know he's most likely going to have one in June or July. So I'm going to be pushing for that rematch then, and moving on with my career. From there, moving up the ranks.
On that same note, what weight do you fight at right now?
Light heavyweight.
Light heavyweight?
Yeah.
What's the numbers on the light heavyweight?
175.
175.
So do you have someone in mind that you'd like to? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got a guest coming in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're outside.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, the light heavyweight. I'm trying to think of who fights at light heavyweight. Well, on the subject of boxing, I never asked you. Are you a boxing fan?
I probably can't talk about too much.
What's that?
So me and my girlfriend, we just now getting back together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so probably can't talk about too much stuff online. Want people all in my business.
Oh yeah,
of course.
It's all good.
No, yeah. It's all
you.
good. I mean, we're not going to ask about you.
All that.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So no, I mean honestly,
Yeah.
when it comes to boxing, I've seen a few matches over the years. I'm very aware of like some of the big names.
Okay.
But when it comes to sports in general, beyond like a smattering of knowledge here and there, my sport was always a non-sport. It's pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling.
So when you say light heavyweight, like the only names that are coming to my mind are like X-Pac and
Even
Dean Malenko.
You know anybody that fought at light heavyweight? I'm like, well, Taka Michinoku.
Like Phil too.
Those dudes are all like stacked. Like,
Yeah.
they're all, a lot of them will probably qualify as heavyweight.
That's true.
Even X-Pac would probably qualify.
Depending
on how much he weighs, he'd probably be a heavyweight in boxing.
Yeah, because I know back
That's
in the
true.
90s with wrestling, it was like if you're 225 or less, you're a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, well, everybody's smaller now. 205. If you're 205 or less, you're a cruiserweight.
You're talking about what? For
Wrestling?
Wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like flying around and the like.
Doing all the flippy dippy.
Like the only, I would consider lightweights the Hardy Boys.
Or Rey Mysterio Jr. is pretty small.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Rey Mysterio Jr. and Jeff Hardy have all been world champions. Actually, Matt Hardy was an Impact champion.
Well, wait.
They've all been world champions.
Jeff Hardy was a champion once too, right?
Yeah.
WWE.
He's WWE champion.
Well,
and world heavyweight champion.
Just once, all right?
I mean,
a couple times.
Oh, a couple times.
Yeah, point we're basically getting at, folks, is that weight class in American
Weight ain't nothing but
wrestling,
weight is like age. It ain't nothing but a number.
right? Unless you're talking,
that number is less than 18.
But did you
Now in Japan,
did you
though-
grow up watching boxing though?
not like that.
No.
But in Japan, though, weight class, they actually have. Don't some Japanese federations have like more belts based on weight class?
Yeah, like New Japan does that, where they have like junior heavyweight, heavyweight, super heavyweight. Oh, hey, how's it going? We got some new guests joining us on the podcast here.
Welcome. But yeah, so my knowledge is I'm legitimately curious about the sport. I definitely prefer combat sports over like basketball, football.
That's your firstborn, huh?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Hey.
So we got one guest speaking to the microphone, Lydia.
Oh, man.
So
Speaking to the microphone.
Speaking to the microphone, baby. No, not happy.
There you go.
Adorable.
We're gonna go to mommy.
This is our first baby guest on the podcast.
How many months is she?
She's 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah, her name's Lilia.
Lilia
Bernice.
Speaking of, we were talking about things that motivate you to even be even more. That's one right there, huh?
Yeah, that's a big motivation
right there.
Yeah, it just motivates me in general, just to get not just with boxing, but just my whole life as a whole.
Right, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And speaking of that, on that same note, because I know you, we didn't talk about it much, but because there's been a lot of the last year there was a couple boxing deaths on the ring, right? How many was it? Like 2 or 3?
No, it was a total of 7.
7. I only know about 2 or 3, but yeah, and that's the thing that I think you had talked about, the insurance for boxers,
right?
I didn't even know that was the thing. Like, what is that? I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm studying to become an agent for New York Life Insurance.
Okay.
I put my studying on hold for a little while so I can continue to focus on boxing and building my personal training studio. But next year I plan on picking my studying back up. I believe the services New York Life offers is the services that every boxer needs. As far as life insurance, that's a service that everyone needs, but especially a boxer, because we're putting our life on the line every time we not only enter the ring, but even in training and sparring, we're putting our life on the line. That's not to say that we're putting our life on the line more than anyone else, right? Because you put your life on the line anytime you drive a car too.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so, but you don't have nobody punching you in the face when you drive a car,
right? No one no one, or at least there are less people trying to hit you when you're driving.
And not only are they punching you in the face,
but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. No, but like not only are they punching you in the face, it's like the best guys to punch you in the face. Like they train. It's a different. That's why I asked you to punch the bag. Because I do it here and there, but like a professional, like it's a different kind of.
Yeah. So that's why life insurance is something every boxer needs.
Sure.
But there's other services that a company like New York Life offers also, like like investing money and like annuities and things like that, because there's no type of retirement for boxing.
Right. That's why some guys like last so long in the sport, and they just try to get a fight at you, whatever,
Right. Now, what if you was putting like a percentage of your purse, investing it, into different avenues like that, so when you retire, you can do something, with those investments, like maybe borrow, money from yourself from some of the annuities that you're, that type of thing. So I'm studying.
That's good.
Studying to become an agent for New York Life, because that's a very respectable company. I don't think it's too many companies that's been around as long as New York Life either. Right. So they have a very good reputation, presidents, athletes, all type of different high level people use New York Life Insurance. So they're very respected. And once I get licensed, my goal is to get every last boxer in America,
UFC fighters,
everybody,
MMA fighters,
investing.
And who better than someone who's in it?
Right. And so that's going to be my goal. One of my goals after boxing, as well. I'm trying to set my life up, for after boxing, because you never know when boxing is going to end.
Right. Because even if you like, this is one thing that I was going to mention earlier, since you said you started at 18.
Right.
And I see this I see that as an advantage, because I grew up knowing guys that started when they were like 7.
Right.
And by the time they were 18, they were already punch drunk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, from sparring for so long. Like, I mean, that has an effect on, and do you see, is that's got to be concerned too, because, you might not die on the ring, but like there's I forgot, is it Brandon Reels, for example, when you could tell all those years of damage, man, like it eventually,
Right. And who knows, maybe
30-year-old sounding like Joe Biden, just the thing with the hug.
One day he might need like long-term care or something like that based from his boxing injuries.
Yeah.
So that's another service that New York Life offers. Right. So I'm very excited to to be able to help my fellow my fellow warriors that enter the ring.
Yeah.
So
they put it out on the line, man. That's like a lot of you talking about. Your dad knew a wrestler who had wrestled, I believe, in one of the WrestleMania.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, his name escapes me, but
he was like,
it was WrestleMania 3, and he wrestled. Oh crap! It might have been Hogan. It was an African American gentleman. Oh gosh, I can't think of the name. But
said he ended up basically like homeless.
Yeah,
right?
well, he was living in the Ron Dellums apartments, which is low income apartments. They specialize in bringing former homeless off the street and people living on Social Security. So it's like a guy like that who was on the biggest wrestling show and one of the biggest pay-per-views in the country, period, is now living like that in Oakland, California. Like, wow.
Well, there's no 401k with wrestling.
There's no with boxing too.
Exactly. So, that's why I want to be able to offer those type of benefits. Because I need those type of benefits myself. And all my fellow fighters, need those type of benefits.
All kinds of combat sport, Yeah,
imagine if I, knew these things when I was 18, even when I was an amateur. Since I already planned to become a professional, one day. And once I start fighting, for $10,000, $100,000, $200,000, $1 million, my money's gonna make money for itself. And I want to teach everyone else how to do the same thing.
Yeah, and I he said like $1 million. Like, it sounds like a lot. I mean, it is. But if you get all these injuries and like, I have a family member who's in the hospital now. He's been in the hospital for almost a month. I believe each day is like close to $800 in the hospital.
Wow.
That's so when you think about
whether if you had that type of insurance.
Yeah.
You want to be really spending that type of money out of pocket. And
then it's like, it's not just a regular injury. It's injuries to your head.
Right.
So that
Luckily, God blessed me with very great physical attributes. My long arms.
Yeah.
So my long arms has kept me out of danger so far. Most of my career, I've never really taken too many serious shots. Like that. But not everyone is so blessed.
Right. And eventually, I mean, because you said you do want to get up to heavyweight. Is that what you said? Get up to heavyweight and challenge a heavyweight?
Oh, no. I'm sticking
okay.
Light heavyweight's my weight. I make light heavyweight pretty easy.
Okay.
I'm naturally kind of thin anyway.
Right, yeah.
I'm thin and muscular. Kind of got that Deontay Wilder build.
Yeah.
For my weight class. So
what'd you think of that fight?
I actually didn't see the fight, but I saw
highlights.
I saw the highlights, which there was a lot of highlights. So that was basically, seeing the whole fight, and I saw the first few rounds. I was pretty disappointed, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm a Wilder fan.
Me too.
Mostly because of his personality outside of the ring.
Yeah.
I do think he needs to really brush up on his skills.
Yeah.
As a fighter. So he's not the type of fighter that I would like watch and study too much per se. Fighters that I can study, those are like my fighters that I really like. But him, I like him for his personality. I just love his personality. I love, I love his demeanor in the ring.
Yeah.
How he comes in there really to just to kill you. Basically, it's exciting to watch. And
I did like the first one because they had, they all had, Fury had his little moments, but that power, man, like you can be really good, but that shows.
I had a feeling the second fight was gonna go like that though, because most of the times, people that has a high boxing IQ, that Fury obviously has, they normally, improve the second fight,
right?
Because he already been in there with you, And I know Wilder, he telegraphs all of his shots, so I was thinking, okay, the second time around, Fury, he may do even better in the second fight and maybe be able to stay away from the right hand and come in with a better game plan, whereas Wilder might come in doing the same thing. And
it's a chess game, man.
And it seemed like that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
I
saw the
Fury
highlights
was able
too.
to execute a game plan immediately from round one on, and Wilder was doing the same thing and fell prey, to Fury's master game plan. And Wilder wasn't able to adjust because he lacks
he has the same
skill.
style.
He lacks skill, and I think he's getting a new trainer. I mean, I don't want to I'll never really talk bad about anybody or anything like that, another fighter, but I feel like it's been time for him to get a new trainer, to be honest, because some of the stuff he does in the ring, I just don't understand how, he's been with the same trainer this long that was a former champion himself, Olympian. And he's still doing the same amateurs stuff that he's been doing since he first started boxing over 10, like the windmilling and stuff like that.
So, I
feel like if I was a coach, I mean, if it was just me, I'd just be like, Wilder, I'm not going to be in your corner if you're going to go out there, throwing punches like that and, telegraphing everything because, you're not only representing yourself, but you're also representing me. Right. But that's just me.
Yeah, for sure.
So that kind of made me wonder, like, why did his trainer really even care? And I didn't see the fight, but I heard he wasn't even really saying much in between rounds in the corner. It was just staring in water. I mean, I didn't see it, but that's what someone told me.
Yeah, I think I saw that the first time too. It was just like, I mean, because in the first one he was getting good shots, but that was their first time. And then, like, I'm sure it's like, now that you've fought, like, for example, you want a rematch with the last guy. Yeah. Now that you felt his power, you see what you can do. You kind of go into the fight.
Yeah, more confident for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm always very confident, but it just takes your confidence to that much of a level when you depend on your IQ and like I do. Like I pride myself on being able to box and figure someone out and execute a game plan. So.
Do you watch your other opponents' matches beforehand? Have you because I'm almost everybody has their stuff on YouTube now, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like when I can't watch my opponent before, I mean, in the amateurs, I never really watched anybody because you never even know who you're gonna fight and stuff like that, and so I don't feel like I need to really watch anyone. Yeah. Like if I fought someone I've never seen before, I know. I'm gonna execute my jab and see what they're gonna do and just base everything, off of that. But when I can watch someone, I have the ability to come up with a solid game plan to execute, and so I definitely use that ability whenever I can. Yeah. And when I watch someone, I don't need to watch much of them either.
Right.
I can just watch their body mechanics and their movements and come up with my game plan off of that.
I want to ask you this because you're a boxing guy, and like this is always I ask this to a lot of my boxing friends. If there was like a dream match that you could like fight someone, one of your idols, or at any time in the history of boxing, who would that be? Like if you could get in the ring with the boxer that it could be anyone in whatever, Ali,
Joe Frazier,
anybody,
Mike Tyson, Mayweather. If you want a missing ear, I guess.
I actually was just about to say, if it had to be a choice, it definitely wouldn't be no one like Mike Tyson because for what if it's my choice?
Mike Tyson might be hungry.
Somebody like
now,
that my choice.
Yeah.
Me, I'm like a thinking man. Mm-hmm. Like I like to play chess and stuff like that. So, I like to strategize. So I would probably try to use that as a strategy to become better. I would probably say Mayweather.
Yeah.
Because of how much Canelo improved fighting Mayweather.
Oh, yeah.
He like went to school when he fought Mayweather. And now look at him.
His trainers did too. Like his trainers they saw.
So I would think that would be a fight that would benefit me the most.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody like Sugar Ray Leonard. But just that off speed. Of what we've seen, in my era, how much Canelo improved after fighting Mayweather, I'll try to go that route, if I had the choice.
Yeah, at light heavyweight, I think.
But at light heavyweight,
it'd be possible for you to Canelo one day.
Yeah,
that's a possible.
I've actually been thinking about that a lot lately. I'd be like, hey man, I might fight Canelo one day. Because he's younger than me.
Could. Yeah, he's younger than you.
And he's fighting at light heavyweight.
He's almost at light heavyweight.
Or no, he done fought. He beat Kovalev.
So that he's already there.
He's champion.
Yeah. So
he's moving down fighting 68, but I guess he's ranging from fighting everybody from 54 on to 75.
Yeah, man. I remember watching that guy before he was.
Oh yeah, I've been watching him ever since way before he was
back
champion.
When he was just in Mexico. Yeah, I remember watching those fights.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Canelo. I like the way he fights.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And then like after that, Mayweather definitely saw a big improvement. I was just thinking about that right now. Like, man, like you could possibly one day fight Canelo.
If I say it like that, you have to say it like I may possibly one day beat Canelo because if I'm fighting him, I'm coming to beat him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, no, yeah. So that Mayweather there, from a lot of casual fans, they were disappointed with watching his fights because of. What's your take on that? Because me personally, like a part of me wants to see blood, whenever I watch a fight, but then. Once you watch it later on, like one of my favorite fights to watch, especially when I was training, was Zab Judah versus Floyd Mayweather, because I felt that day was like Zab Judah was fighting the way Mayweather eventually kind of fought after that. Yeah. And then I didn't know this, but for Pacquiao fight, Mayweather trained a lot. His sparring partner was Zab Judah because he really took a lot from that fight, and he was going to fight, Pacquiao, who was one of the,
I think they've been regular sparring partners for a long time, from what I understand.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that until that fight.
Even before that fight,
because they were in a music video together or something.
Even before that fight when they fought each other. I think
really?
Coming up, they were like sparring. They knew each other real well, from what I understand.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite fights because for most of the fight, I thought Zab won. Until the later rounds when
that particular fight I only saw like once, and I think I saw it like live when I was a kid at my uncle's house. No,
I go back and watch that every once in a while. There's fight. I'm sure you have that too, like classic fights that you eventually go back and watch.
There's always those fights
that's
that
one
I watch all the time.
Not Prince Nassim and what was his name, the babyface killer. Mexican guy, Barrera. That's another one that that was a crazy, He actually took him down. I don't know if you've ever seen it. He grabbed him and like tackled him to the floor at one point. That was crazy,
man. I was thinking, you back to Mayweather real quick. You mentioned being a chess player and liking to think, and it made me. I've seen a few Mayweather fights, and one that sticks out to me is I can't remember the young man he was facing against, but the guy kept headbutting him, which is illegal, as you all know. And his response to this was to pretend to want to shake the guy's hand and then sucker punch it, right? Yeah. And I realized then, I was like, you know what? Son of a bitch may not be able to...
I don't think he reached to shake his hand.
No,
Victor Ortiz
did.
Reached to shake his hand to try to say, oh, I'm sorry, like it was an accident. And then as he was doing that, Mayweather hit him. And dropped him because it was time to fight.
Right.
Right. But the referee already said fight. Right. While you're trying to shake your hand. Right. After you done just ram your head into me like that.
Several times.
And split my lip open.
And
this is real. This is, street fight now, basically.
Right. But
that's how I would have took it. I would have shook his hand.
But I remember like his body language, like Mayweather's body language being fairly open, and then pow, right? And I was like, and I saw that and I thought, you know what? Son of a bitch may not be able to know how to read, but he's smart in the ring. That's proof there's different kinds of intelligence.
The do what he's done outside the ring too. He definitely is smart everywhere else.
Well, right. Well, yeah.
He's got a lot of investments in like real estate that he's made his money.
Seem like all type of things, a little bit of everything. Yeah. I feel like he's a great example.
And he gets a lot of kids in his gym to go train with him. Like he does a lot for young boxers too.
I've heard about that.
Oh yeah, no. In fact, I think someone from Richmond went to go train in his Vegas gym. I forgot the kid's name, but there's, like I said, there's a lot of fighters like Archimedes from Richmond, and he got involved in boxing, and that's why I'm glad you came, because we interview a lot of Richmond people, and if that's one thing I've seen is a lot of young fighters coming out of here, and I'm sure you've met some already, So that Mayweather, that we were talking about the fights that you go back and watch, like what some of your. I'm interested to know like what because
one of my favorite fights to watch is the first fight with Ali and Frazier. I like watching.
Oh, classic.
Yeah. I like watching Sugar Ray Robinson fights. I look at all of his fights. I love the first fight with Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran.
Yeah.
I like watching Thomas Hearns. I like watching a lot of the old fighters, to be honest.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember.
I like watching Mayweather's young fights when he was Pretty Boy Floyd. Yeah, when he was like throwing combinations and knocking people out. When he was young.
He was knocking people out. That's...
Yeah, people forget about that.
Yeah, but that was a smart move because he was getting older, so you got to focus on defense now.
His fundamentals are so sound and his boxing IQ is so, so high that what it looked like to me, it was like he knew what his opponents was going to do before they did it. Because he was just that much of a student of the game, since adolescent age.
Who do you see right now, like who's a new boxer that you like to watch?
Like a young up and comer.
Devin Haney,
who's from the Bay Area originally.
Have you sparred with him?
Oh no, he fights at like 130.
Oh yeah.
Okay, 130. I think he's 130 pounder, 135 pounder.
Okay.
You know, he's in a very exciting weight class.
Yeah.
Where it's a lot of great up and coming fighters. Like Ryan Garcia. Teofimo Lopez, who's champion now. I believe he holds an IBF belt. Yep. Shakur Stevenson, I believe he's in that weight class, or maybe the one under. No, he's in that weight class. Yeah.
Shakur Stevenson. Yep. Tevin Farmer too, right? Is he up five above?
I think he's at 135.
135. That's the one that I'm
just got beat by Jojo Diaz.
Yep.
Just beat him pretty convincingly. So that's an exciting weight class. You know, with a lot of up and comers.
Yeah.
I think Devin Haney is probably the most skilled, right? And Teofimo Lopez. Those two. That's like a future dream match. Yeah. Shakur Stevenson, obviously.
Yep.
I feel like Lopez and Haney is probably the top of that class, though.
On that class,
in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a man. I just saw Teofimo's last knockout that guy's he's impressive, man.
And that was against a very good opponent too.
Yeah.
You know,
And for you, like, I mean, we talked about Canelo. That'd be a dream match for sure.
Oh
there's someone in the light heavyweight right now that you'd like to get in there with. Anyone with a belt, obviously.
And you know, anyone that's ahead of me in the rankings. You know, because I want to move up the rankings, and and I want to have my opportunity to show what I can do.
For sure.
Yeah.
Man, when it comes to boxing, you hear criticism from people that just watch.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I didn't get into it like that. You know, when I was I'm about to be 30 now, and I got into it when I was like 19.
Yeah.
I didn't continue, but when I hear people, like give opinions, like no, you can give your opinion, but you know what I'm saying, like, oh man, he's not doing anything, he's just jabbing, like.
People often forget their place, which is like they're just spectators. They're not down there in the trenches throwing punches.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an interesting blend here between freedom of speech and acknowledgement of your own reality that I always find interesting. Like, they should have just ran the ball this way, and it's like, oh really? Like,
sitting on the couch eating chips.
300-pound motherfucker like eating chips and nacho cheese is gonna tell somebody how to quarterback. Sit your ass down. Oh wait. You're already sitting down. My bad. Like,
I'm sure you get you see that a lot.
Yeah, I see that a lot. But I mean, I understand what it is.
Right.
It's just, sports in general is something that's just so exciting.
Yeah.
Everyone
is going
to have their opinion.
Yeah.
Because of how exciting it is, and how most people wish they could, do the things that athletes do.
Right.
And it's so exciting, and they wish it so bad that sometimes they think that they are really doing it.
Yeah.
So, basically what I'm trying to say is it's not something to really take personal. I think it's just, part of the territories. It's something that people do, so,
that's,
if you get too bent out of shape about that, then you're not going to be a very good athlete anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
So you got to stay focused as an athlete.
Yeah, I think that goes with anything where you're doing something where you're in the public eye, is to keep in mind that, hey, everyone's going to have something to say, and like, you're the one that is putting on the gloves, you're the one that's throwing the football, you're the one that's writing that rap song, you're the one that's asked to be in that movie, not the person sitting there saying you're doing a crap job who can't even imagine being in your position. So this is always something I could sit here and say Gucci Mane sucks all day, but he's the one platinum records. I'm just a struggle rapper right now.
You how often do you train? You train every day? Like, do you stay in shape just in case a fight comes up? Like, or do you plan it out and train?
I try my best to stay in shape.
Okay.
At all times.
Yeah.
Because you never know when the opportunity is going to come.
Right.
Recently, I've been having a lot of extra responsibilities on my plate.
Yeah.
As a business owner.
Yeah.
And as a father. And but the reason why I chose to become an entrepreneur is so that I can eventually free myself up.
Right.
You know, maybe in a couple of years, once my business is able to run itself, and then I can, you know, focus 100%, you know, on boxing if a bigger opportunity doesn't come on its own.
Right.
You know, as far as getting signed with a big promoter, with a top promoter.
Yeah.
You know, so it's all part of the plan. And you know, but I train as much as I can, as often as I can, to be in the best shape that I can possibly be in.
How do you combat those cravings, man? Because I'm sure if you try to stay in shape, there's every once in a while.
Yeah,
what's your cheat meal that you have?
I would say Mexican food.
Oh yeah,
it's a burrito truck, not too far from my house. That's
Which one?
I don't know the name. It's the one on 21st.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, man.
Yeah. So
that's man.
That truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's everybody knows about that truck. Yeah.
They don't even call it by the name; they just call it 21st. You know, I appreciate.
So that's my cheat meal most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even call it cheat meal because if you have it often, it's not a cheat. But because after
that's a whole nother relationship.
That's a whole. After shows, they're the ones that are open till 1.
Okay.
And that's my go-to. You know, but but during training, man, like you like, so you're always staying in shape, so you're always keeping the food. Like, I mean, how do you not? It's hard not to go crazy sometimes, right? With the you're just used to it now.
I guess that's what it is. You know, I'm just used to it now. It's kind of just became a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, so I really don't even think about it too much. After fights, you know, I normally, you know, I have a lot more cheat meals than I do when I have a fight coming up. Normally, like having a fight date, you know, that kind of motivates me to, you know, to stay eating healthy.
Do you have a date coming up for a fight or
right now? Not right now, but you know, I'm trying to fight as much as I can. You know, as I was saying earlier, I'm kind of playing the role as manager, so I have to find my own fights, book my own fights, and all that type of thing for right now. You know, so I'm trying to fight as soon as I can.
Okay.
Who knows what that's going to be, but hopefully it'll be soon. And you know, but for the most part, I don't have a hard time. You know,
if someone wanted to contact you, you know, maybe a listener, and they want to sponsor you, they want to, where can they reach you at?
On my Instagram.
Okay.
My Instagram handle is smooth jazz _ pound for pound.
So if any promoters out there want to get in touch with you,
pick them up, please.
We have a lot of listeners somehow from Canada, so if
maybe one of the Canucks
maybe we could get you a fight in Canada or something, you know.
Exactly, you could do like a Canadian tour, and I mean they're all so polite, right? So it'd be like, man, punch you there, Ozer, and you'd be like, bam, there we go, that was easy.
Arturo Gatti's old. Yeah, man. Well, I wanted to thank you for coming by, and if you do have a future fight, we'll put it on the page for you because we're all local, you know, entertainers and athletes. We started this just to help each other out,
right?
So support each other.
Yeah, man, support each other. Yeah.
Shoot.
If you do have a fight coming up, I Voice Party would like to come and help you out with anything we can.
Appreciate it.
I want to commentate. I know that's not up to you, but like, I'd love to be one of those. All right, he's coming in.
That's actually one of my dream jobs, like be a boxing commentator. Sometimes I practice. I turn the fight's volume off, and then I like practice commentating.
I want to do that with old fights, or fights. This is something that we've talked about with. I have another boxing friend and Archimedes, the boxing trainer.
Yeah,
and we talked about doing this with the podcast, where we find an old fight or any fight that was a draw. We'll commentate over it, and we'll eliminate whatever they're saying, and we decide. You know, based on whatever. You know, but that's something similar to that because I always wanted to do either commentating or post-fight interviews with boxers. That's also something that I was very interested in. So if you're interested in something like that, or you have some free time, man, we'll make that happen.
All right.
Wait a minute. Here's an idea. We see if we can take this thing on the road, and maybe for one of Jasper's fights in the future, we just do a voice party episode where we're podcasting about the fight as it's going on.
Oh yeah.
That sounds pretty good, man.
Dope.
Yeah. We could do that, man.
Yeah.
Have
Sky's the
their
limit.
commentators.
Do anything you put our mind to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we definitely would like to you're welcome anytime. And
appreciate
we appreciate you taking your time to come talk to us, man.
Anytime.
Yeah. So, any last thoughts you want to for your listeners who are, thinking about doing something but not doing it because of whatever? Your perfect example for that.
Yeah, perfect example. You just got to jump in head first. You can't wait for the perfect time. If you're waiting for the perfect time, it's never gonna happen. That goes with not just, I learned that not just from boxing, but just, by everything, in life. For example, with my business, I leaped out on faith and went after entrepreneurship off of $1 and a dream, literally. And, and putting that, that the work in and the faith in, and, God blesses those who take that first step. Right. So always take the first step. Never be afraid to take the first step, no matter how the circumstances look. So
Amen.
Yeah. It doesn't get better than that. Thank you guys for listening. We're out.
Yep.